Buenas noches, YouTube, and welcome to another edition of Paisano's Music and Vinyl Talk. I am your host, as always, Paisano. The reason why I say buenas noches, because tonight we're going to talk about Mexico's greatest gift to rock music in the form of Mr. Carlos Santana. One of my favorite guitarists. Unique, stylish, groundbreaking, you name it. He is something special. And this was his 1988 release. It was a compilation spanning his career really up to 1988. By all accounts, with the booklet that came with this, Santana went through 35, I believe, lineup changes between 1968 and 1988. That's a lot of lineup changes, ladies and gentlemen. That's incredible. He was constantly, it was always a big band, you know, percussionists, conga players. It was a full band. And that's one of the things I loved about Carlos. He was a great band leader. He always had a huge band, and it wasn't all about him, you know. I mean, the band obviously bore his name. It was always Santana. At the beginning, it was the Santana Blues Band, and he, you know, heavy on the organ. Greg Raleigh handled the organ duties early on for at least 2 or 3 years, and that kind of set the tone. He was always big on the organ, the congas, percussion, the bass. He was just fantastic, just an all-around musician, and completely unselfish in that regard, where he treated it like a band. He didn't take over, you know. And he always had such a sweet tone, you know. I mean, occasionally he used effects very sparingly. There's only, on all these tracks, this is a triple album, on all these tracks, very rarely is there a wah-wah pedal used, or even the tremolo on the guitar. He was strictly a Gibson Les Paul guy early on, and I know he made the switch to Paul Reed Smith. Paul Reed Smith makes a very fine instruments. Switched to Paul Reed Smith at some point. I don't think I ever saw him with a Fender Stratocaster or a Telecaster. I'm not sure he ever played those. I don't know if anybody wants to comment on Carlos's choice of guitars. Please feel free. Paisano loves comments. And another thing I love is subscriptions. Please subscribe. Never say no to that. All right, let's tell the story about Santana. They were a local San Francisco band with their peers, the Grateful Dead, Big Brother and the Holding Company with Janis Joplin, Jefferson Airplane, Quicksilver Messenger Service, all those groups. And Santana was a San Francisco band. And they muddled around a little bit. They became quite popular locally. But they didn't really have any national exposure until the Woodstock Festival came up in August of 1969. And the people that were putting the Woodstock Festival together were pretty inexperienced as far as putting concerts together, so they enlisted the services of Mr. Bill Graham. Bill Graham was a San Francisco rock promoter and a worldwide force, not just a national force. He was a worldwide force in promoting rock. You know, the best rock promoter probably in the history of rock music. And these guys asked for his help, and he said, I will help you, but you got to give these guys a shot on the Woodstock bill. Their name is Santana, led by Carlos Santana. And they said, okay, we'll give him whatever time we can give him, probably a small slot, but we don't know when. Just get him out here. So, sometime on the first day, Carlos and the group get there, and they're kicking around, and Carlos decides to take a hit of mescaline, and he's starting to feel the effects of it. And someone comes up to him and says, "You got to go on right now. This is your one chance. You don't go on now, you ain't going on." So according to Carlos, he goes, "I started praying." He goes, "I prayed to God. I said, please keep me in tune and on time." And his prayers were well received. He said the guitar, in his hallucinatory state, was a snake that he was trying to control, which must have been incredible. Now, I can tell you, his whatever handicap he thought he was suffering was not evident. He played like a master, an absolute master. I got to look for some more songs from Woodstock, because you always see the song "Soul Sacrifice," which was their encore that day. But he played his ass off. My God, him and that red Gibson SG. What a tone! What a player! And like I said, this is not a greatest hits, although it does have, probably his greatest songs on it. And but I consider it more of a compilation than a greatest hits. And it came out on Columbia, and I had read about this in Rolling Stone magazine, that this was coming out, and I happened to mention it to a coworker of mine. This coworker had a son that was a guitar player, and he actually used to go to a guitar camp in Virginia every year, run by Robert Fripp from King Crimson. I can only imagine how much that costs. But this is back in the 80s. And I had mentioned it to her and said that I had to make my way down to Strawberries down the South Shore Plaza in Braintree, Massachusetts. And she said, "Well, I'm going there with Michael, her son, and I could pick it up for you." So I gave her the money. Next day she came in with the record. And here it is. It's a triple album. Comes with a booklet. That's a cover shot with Woodstock at the height of, that was the first day. Everybody all enthusiastic. Probably not the full 400,000 that ended up being there, but still, it's laying on my keyboard. But a damn good sized crowd, enough to instill the fear of God in you. And this is just loaded with pictures. There's a picture. I believe probably that's with the current band. There's a picture on this side here. That's the original Santana Blues Band, I believe. See Greg Raleigh and Michael Shreve. Shreve was a fantastic drummer. His work at Woodstock was legendary. If they didn't do anything beyond Woodstock, they would still be legends. That's how great of a show they put on, and how well received they were by the crowd. That's Bill Graham there, the one responsible for getting them the slot at Woodstock. A great man by all accounts. He did a lot of work for the good of rock and roll. This is some pictures from Santana's first recording session in 1968 for their debut album called Santana. And the actual album itself, the gatefold sleeve, has quite a few great shots, the middle one being of Woodstock, middle two of Woodstock. And this picture up here was in Moscow. He actually played in Russia. I think that's a rooftop concert below it. San Francisco, 1987. Keyzar Stadium, 1975. It's another huge crowd, and this is at Altamont down here, the ill-fated Altamont, where the Rolling Stones played, and there was at least one death. Just a complete tragedy. Let's go over the track list. It took me 3 days to listen to this triple album. Side 1, Everybody's Everything. Black Magic Woman / Gypsy Queen. I can't even pronounce some of these. My Spanish is extremely poor. Guajira, Jungle Strut, and one of my favorite Santana songs, Jingo, finishes out. Side 1 of Record 1. Side 2, Ballin', Bambada, Angel Negro, Incident at Neshabar, Just Let the Music Speak. Record 2, Super Boogie / Hong Kong Blues, Song of the Wind, Abi Kama, Vitalo, Paris Finale. The second side of Record 2, Brotherhood, Open Invitation, Aquamarine, Dance Sister Dance. And side 4 is a lot of the hits. She's Not There, that's a live cut. Bambali, Evil Ways, Daughter of the Night, Europa. It's a great guitar workout, Europa, fantastic. And side 2 of the third record, Peraza 2, and a live in Montreal, Black Magic Woman, Gypsy Queen. Oye Como Va, Persuasion, and finishes with their finale at Woodstock, Soul Sacrifice. Fittingly so, because that's where the worldwide Santana story starts. Just a great record, great pickup. I've had it since 1988. And let's take a look at the vinyl. Classic Columbia, red label. This is record 1, side 1 and side 2. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our little discussion about Santana. A little bit of history here. And I hope you'll tune in again next week. If you're enjoying our discussions, please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Mucho. Good night, YouTube, and thank you.